The rooftop pool was not the busiest place on the Great Space Station. Most of the visitors were aliens who did not care much for water. For many of them, swimming felt strange and unnecessary. But for Myra, a young human worker on the station, the pool was like a secret home. She loved the way the water shimmered under the lights of the dome above. The rooftop was made of clear glass, showing the endless stars and the glowing arc of a nearby planet. At night, the whole place felt like floating in the sky itself. Myra would often climb the steps to the rooftop when her shift was over. She worked long hours helping in the supply docks, guiding cargo and checking shipments. The job was busy and tiring, and sometimes she felt like just another piece of machinery in the huge system of the station. But the rooftop pool was different. Here, she felt human again. One evening, after a long day, Myra walked to the pool with a towel on her shoulder. The air was quiet, with only the soft hum of the station engines in the distance. She expected to find the pool empty, as usual. But when she reached the top step, she stopped. Someone was already there. In the calm blue water, she saw a tall figure moving slowly. His skin gave off a faint silver glow under the lights. His hair was dark and tied back neatly. Myra recognized him after a moment. He was Rallan, an alien diplomat from a distant world. She had seen him once in the station hall, walking with guards, but never this close. For a second, she thought about turning back. The pool had always been her private place, her hidden corner of peace. But something about the way Rallan moved in the water stopped her. His strokes were careful, as if swimming was not something he knew well. His eyes lifted, and they met hers across the pool. Myra hesitated, then gave a small smile. "Didn't think anyone else liked it up here," she said softly. Rallan's voice was calm, deep, and a little formal. "Most do not. Water is not natural for many races." She walked closer, placing her towel on a bench. "For humans, it feels natural," she said. "Almost like home." Rallan tilted his head slightly, studying her. His people were known to be serious, often distant, but there was something almost curious in his eyes now. He did not answer, but he did not leave either. Myra slipped into the pool. The water was cool against her skin, and the quiet splash echoed softly under the dome. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was not heavy, just uncertain. Myra swam a slow lap, feeling his gaze follow her. When she paused by the edge, she noticed he was still in the center of the pool, floating with effort. She gave a small laugh. "You're not used to this, are you?" Rallan's lips curved slightly, not quite a smile but close. "My world has oceans, but we live above them. We do not enter them. Swimming is unusual for me." Myra found herself amused. "Then why come here?" His eyes lifted to the glass dome above, where the stars glittered like tiny fires. "It is quiet. The water reflects the light. It feels different." Myra followed his gaze. The stars shone across the water, making it look like a pool of galaxies. She realized she had never really shared this view with anyone before. For the rest of the evening, they did not talk much. Myra swam in her steady rhythm, and Rallan practiced slow movements, as though learning to trust the water. Sometimes their eyes met, and a spark of curiosity passed between them. When Myra finally climbed out and wrapped her towel around her shoulders, she looked back at him. Rallan was still in the pool, but his expression was softer than before. "Good night," she said gently. "Good night, Myra," he replied, surprising her by saying her name. She walked down the steps, her heart strangely light. The rooftop pool no longer felt like hers alone. And though she had lost a bit of her secret space, she wondered if she had gained something else, something just beginning. The next evening, Myra was not sure if she should return to the rooftop. All day, while she worked in the supply docks, her thoughts kept drifting back to the pool. She remembered the way Rallan had looked at the stars, as if the water made him see something new. She remembered his voice when he said her name. It felt strange. The pool had always been her private world, and now it was different. But the thought of staying away felt even stranger. When her shift ended, she took the same path up the long stairway. Her heart beat faster than usual. Maybe he would not be there. Maybe it had been only a chance meeting. She told herself not to expect anything. But when she reached the rooftop, she saw him again. Rallan was sitting at the edge of the pool, his feet in the water. His dark clothes looked too formal for this quiet place, but somehow, he seemed more relaxed than before. When Myra stepped inside, he turned his head. "You returned," he said. Myra gave a small laugh. "I could say the same to you." This time, she felt less shy. She placed her towel on the same bench as before and slipped into the water. The cool touch wrapped around her, calming her nerves. Rallan watched her for a moment, then stepped into the pool as well. His movements were slow, careful, but he seemed less uncertain than the night before. They swam side by side, though a little distance remained between them. For a while, the only sound was the soft rippling of water. Myra wanted to speak, but she did not know what to say. Finally, she broke the silence. "You don't really seem like someone who comes here just for swimming," she said. Rallan raised an eyebrow. "And what do I seem like?" Myra thought for a second. "Someone who comes here because it feels peaceful. Maybe because it's not full of people asking questions." For the first time, Rallan smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed his serious face completely. "You are not wrong. In the halls, I am always surrounded by voices. Here, there is only silence, and water." Myra nodded. "I understand. On Earth, water is part of life. We swim when we are children, we go to rivers, lakes, and beaches. It makes us feel free." Rallan looked at her with clear interest. "Free?" "Yes," she said softly. "Like nothing is holding us down. The water carries us, and for a while, all the worries feel far away." Rallan fell silent, as if thinking deeply about her words. Myra realized that for him, such simple feelings were unusual. His people were known for order and discipline. Yet here he was, in a pool, listening to stories about human freedom. They floated quietly for a while. Myra stretched her arms, staring up through the glass dome at the stars. The reflection of the sky danced on the water. She wondered if he was looking at the same stars in a different way. At last, Rallan spoke again. "You speak of water as if it is more than water. I think that is very human." Myra smiled. "Maybe it is. We like to give meaning to simple things." He studied her face for a moment, then asked, "Does it make you stronger? This way of seeing?" She thought about it. "I don't know if it makes us stronger. But it makes life brighter. Even hard days feel lighter when we have something simple to enjoy." Rallan gave a slow nod, as if he had just learned something important. Myra felt a warmth inside her chest. She was not used to anyone listening to her like this, especially someone from another world. When the time grew late, they both climbed out of the pool. Myra wrapped herself in her towel while Rallan stood quietly beside her. "Thank you," he said at last. "For what?" she asked. "For speaking to me. For sharing your way of seeing." Myra blinked in surprise. "It's just normal for me." "Perhaps," Rallan said. "But normal for you may not be normal for me." They stood in silence for a moment, the stars glowing above them. Myra felt the strange weight of something beginning between them, something small but real. When she finally walked away, her heart was lighter than the night before. The rooftop pool no longer felt like a place of solitude. It was slowly becoming a place of connection. The days on the station passed in their usual rhythm, cargo arriving, machines humming, voices filling the halls. But for Myra, everything felt a little different now. Every evening, her thoughts drifted toward the rooftop pool, and toward the quiet figure she had met there. It was no longer just a place of rest. It was a place of waiting. When her shift ended, she found herself walking up the long stairway almost without thinking. And each time, she discovered Rallan was already there, as if he too had been waiting. That evening, the pool was calm, glowing faintly under the dome lights. Rallan was standing at the edge, staring at the stars beyond the glass. When Myra entered, his head turned. "You always arrive after me," he said softly. Myra laughed. "Maybe you always come too early." This time, his smile appeared quicker, more natural. They both slipped into the water, and the pool rippled gently around them. For a while, they swam side by side. Rallan's movements had grown steadier, less hesitant than before. Myra noticed the change and teased him. "You're getting better." He lifted an eyebrow. "At floating." "At swimming," she corrected. "You don't look like you're fighting the water anymore." Rallan gave a short nod. "It is still strange. But, less strange when you are here." The words caught Myra off guard. She felt warmth rise to her cheeks, and for a moment, she didn't know how to reply. Instead, she pushed herself into a gentle backstroke, letting the water carry her. She stared up at the glowing stars, her heart beating a little faster. After a while, Rallan's voice broke the silence. "Tell me more of your world." "Of Earth." Myra turned her head toward him. He was watching her with calm interest, as if her words were more valuable than any lecture. She thought for a moment, then began. "Earth has many faces," she said. "Mountains covered in snow, forests so deep you can walk for hours, deserts where the sun burns hot. But what I love most are the oceans. Endless water stretching far beyond sight." Rallan tilted his head. "And you enter them? Even when they are so vast?" Myra smiled. "Yes. People swim, sail, dive. We play in the waves. Sometimes we just sit and watch the horizon. It feels like freedom." "Freedom again," he repeated softly, almost to himself. "Yes," Myra said. Her eyes softened as she remembered. "As children, we splash and laugh in the summer heat. Families gather by the shore. Even on the hardest days, people return to the water. It gives us joy." Rallan listened closely, his gaze never leaving her. To him, her stories seemed almost like treasures. His people valued knowledge, order, structure, but this was something different. Myra was not speaking of rules or systems. She was speaking of feelings, of memories that could not be measured. When she finished, the pool grew quiet again. Rallan finally spoke, his tone thoughtful. My people do not understand this. We build cities above the seas, but we avoid them. We think water is dangerous, unpredictable. Yet you call it joy. Myra shrugged gently. Maybe that's what makes humans different. We don't just survive. We find beauty in what others fear. Her words lingered in the air, and for a long moment, neither of them moved. Myra floated on her back, watching the stars, while Rallan remained still, his eyes thoughtful. At last, he said quietly, I believe you are right. Perhaps that is why I come here. Not for the water itself, but to understand how you see it. Myra's chest tightened. She turned her head and found his eyes waiting for hers. The weight of his gaze made her heart race, though he did not move closer. The rest of the evening passed slowly, filled with small conversations and quiet silences. Myra told him about Earth's rivers and lakes, about children learning to swim in shallow ponds, about nights spent by campfires near the shore. Rallan listened to each word as if it were something rare. When it was time to leave, they climbed out together. Myra wrapped her towel around her shoulders while Rallan stood with water still dripping from his hair. For the first time, he did not look distant or formal. He looked almost human. As she walked away, Myra felt something new growing inside her. It was more than curiosity now. It was the beginning of a bond, a quiet thread connecting two worlds. And though she could not name it yet, she knew the rooftop pool had changed forever. The rooftop pool had become a quiet rhythm in Myra's life. Work in the docks still filled her days, but her evenings had grown brighter. Every night, she climbed the long stairway with a quiet hope, and every night, she found Rallan waiting. This time, the pool was completely empty when she arrived. The dome above glowed with starlight, and the water shone like liquid glass. Rallan was already in the pool, but instead of swimming, he was sitting by the edge, resting his arms on the side. His silver-toned skin shimmered in the glow of the lights. When Myra entered, he lifted his head. His eyes were calm, but there was something else in them, something heavier. You look thoughtful, Myra said as she placed her towel down. Rallan's voice was quiet. I was wondering if you would come tonight. Of course, Myra replied, slipping into the water. The cool touch eased her body, but her heart felt strangely alert. She swam closer, noticing how still he seemed. You thought I wouldn't. Some meetings on this station begin and end quickly, he said. I wondered if this meeting would fade too. Myra smiled softly. I don't think so. They floated side by side in silence for a while. Myra could hear the faint hum of the engines below, the sound of a living station holding them among the stars. After a time, Rallan spoke again, his voice lower than usual. Myra, there is something I should admit. She turned her head toward him, curious. What is it? He took a slow breath, as if choosing each word carefully. At first, I came here because it was quiet. No voices, no demands. But after I met you, I came here for another reason. Myra's heart skipped. She stopped moving, letting herself float in place. Another reason. His gaze did not leave hers. I came because of you. For a moment, Myra felt the world around her pause. The water, the stars, even the faint hum of the station seemed to fall silent. She had not expected him to say it so directly, yet the honesty in his voice left no space for doubt. She felt her face warm. You don't have to say that. It is the truth, Rallan said firmly. I find myself waiting for you here. I want to hear your stories, your laughter, even your silence. It is different from anything I have known. Myra looked down at the water, rippling softly around her arms. She had never thought of herself as special. She was just a worker, one human among many. Yet here was Rallan, a diplomat from another world, telling her she mattered to him. She whispered, "You make it sound like I'm something rare." "You are," he said without hesitation. "Perhaps all humans are. Or perhaps only you." Her heart pounded. She wanted to answer, but her words tangled inside her. Instead, she swam slowly toward the center of the pool, needing space to breathe. Rallan followed, but he kept a respectful distance. The silence stretched between them, not heavy but full. Finally, Myra found her voice. "I don't know what to say. I didn't expect this." "You need not say anything," Rallan replied. His tone was steady, but his eyes showed a hint of vulnerability. "I only wished to be honest." Myra floated on her back, staring at the stars above. The dome seemed wider tonight, the universe stretching endlessly beyond. She thought of Earth's oceans, of how waves carried people without effort. Now, she felt the same pull not from water, but from his words. After a while, she turned to him again. "Thank you for telling me." He inclined his head slightly. "You are not upset?" "No," she said softly. "Just surprised. And maybe glad." A faint smile touched his lips, and the tension between them eased. They swam slowly after that, not speaking much, but every glance they shared felt different, closer, warmer. When it was time to leave, Myra wrapped her towel around her shoulders and looked back at him. Rallan was standing by the poolside, droplets of water shining on his skin like stars. "Good night, Rallan," she said, her voice gentle. "Good night, Myra," he replied. But this time, his words carried something more, something unspoken yet deeply clear. As Myra walked down the steps, her thoughts swirled. The rooftop pool was no longer just a secret place. It was now the beginning of something she could not fully name, but she felt it growing stronger with every night. Myra's days passed as usual, lifting crates, checking lists, answering calls in the supply docks, but her heart was never fully in the work anymore. Every small pause between tasks made her think of the rooftop, the quiet pool, and the silver-eyed figure who waited for her there. But one evening, when she climbed the stairway with her towel in hand, she noticed something different about Rallan. He was already in the pool, but his posture was tense. His usual calm expression carried a shadow she had not seen before. Myra slipped into the water and swam closer. "You look troubled," she said gently. Rallan turned toward her. His voice was steady, but it held a weight. "I received a message today. My time here may be ending soon." Myra stopped in the water, her breath caught. "Ending? You mean, you're leaving the station?" "Yes," he said quietly. "My work here was always temporary. The council recalls me to my home world. It may be only a few days before I depart." Myra felt the pool around her grow colder. The thought of the rooftop without him, of swimming alone again, made her chest tighten. She tried to smile, but it felt weak. "That's good news for you, isn't it? You've done your work here." Rallan's eyes searched hers. "Perhaps. But I do not feel as I thought I would." The silence that followed was heavy. Myra floated aimlessly, her thoughts racing. She wanted to tell him not to go, but what right did she have? He was a diplomat, important to his people, while she was only a dock worker who had shared a pool and a few nights of stories. Still, the words slipped from her lips before she could stop them. "I'll miss you." Rallen's gaze softened, and for the first time, Myra saw real sadness in his expression. "And I will miss you, Myra." They swam slowly after that, but the joy of the water was gone. Every ripple felt like a reminder of time running out. Myra tried to speak of Earth again, of summers and laughter, but her voice lacked its usual spark. Rallen listened, yet his silence said more than words. At last, Myra stopped near the edge of the pool. She rested her arms against the side and looked up at the stars through the glass dome. "It's strange," she whispered. "The stars have always made me feel free. But tonight, they only feel far away." Rallen swam beside her, his voice low. "I understand. My world is far too. And yet, here we meet in this place between stars." Myra turned to him. His eyes held that same heavy honesty as before. She wanted to reach out, to hold onto something that was slipping away, but she kept her hands still in the water. "Do you ever wish you could stay?" she asked softly. Rallen was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Yes. More than I expected." The words echoed in her mind, filling the silence of the pool. She wanted to believe them, but she also knew reality. His duty was calling him back, and no story about oceans or freedom could change that. When the evening ended, they climbed out of the pool together. Myra wrapped herself in her towel, her eyes lowered to the floor. She did not want him to see the sadness written across her face. "Good night," she said quietly. "Good night, Myra," he replied, his voice gentle. She walked down the steps, her heart heavy with each step she took. The rooftop, which once felt alive with light and warmth, now seemed filled with shadows of what might soon be lost. That night, as she lay in her small cabin, Myra could not sleep. She thought of his words, "I came because of you, and yes, more than I expected." They circled in her mind like waves, rising and falling, never letting her rest. For the first time since meeting him, the pool felt like it was slipping away from her. And she realized something with painful clarity: she did not just enjoy his company. She needed it. The message of Rallen's departure weighed on Myra for days. She still worked in the docks, still lifted crates and checked cargo, but her mind was never there. Every sound of engines reminded her of ships leaving, and every star beyond the glass walls reminded her of distance. When evening came, she walked up the stairway with slower steps than usual. She was not sure what she would find. Would Rallen still be waiting? Or would the rooftop already be empty, his presence gone like a dream? But when she reached the pool, he was there. Standing by the edge, his reflection shimmered in the still water. He looked up when she entered, his face calm but shadowed. "You came," he said softly. "I always come," Myra replied, trying to smile. They both slipped into the water, and the pool rippled gently. The silence between them was heavy, not like before when it was warm and comfortable. Tonight, it was filled with words neither dared to speak. Finally, Rallen broke the silence. "The departure is near. I cannot delay it much longer." Myra's chest tightened, but she forced herself to meet his eyes. "Do you want to go?" He hesitated. "Duty calls me. My people expect me to return. It is not about want, it is about need." Myra floated closer, her heart beating fast. "And what about here? About this place? About us?" Rallen's expression softened. That is the part I did not expect. You are the part I did not expect. The words sent a warmth through her, but it was mixed with ache. She lowered her voice, almost a whisper. I don't want you to go. For a moment, the only sound was the quiet splash of water around them. Rallan looked at her, his eyes steady, but there was something vulnerable in them now. Myra, he said, you must understand. My whole life has been about service, about following the path given to me. But here, with you, I feel something different. I do not know if it is strength or weakness. I only know it is real. Her heart pounded. She had never imagined hearing such words from him. She swam a little closer, until the distance between them was small. It's not weakness, she said softly. It's human. To care, to feel, to choose. That's what makes life more than duty. Rallan was silent, his gaze fixed on her. The reflection of the stars above danced in his eyes. Slowly, he nodded. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps this is what your people mean by freedom. Myra smiled faintly. Maybe freedom is just choosing what matters to you most. They floated side by side, the water moving gently around them. The silence now felt different, no longer heavy, but filled with understanding. For the first time, Myra let herself imagine a future where he stayed, where the rooftop pool was not just a memory but a promise. At last, Rallan spoke again, his voice firm but tender. Myra, I cannot promise forever. My world may still call me back. But I can choose now. And now, I want to remain here because of you. The words struck her like a wave. Relief and joy filled her chest, and for a moment she could not speak. Finally, she whispered, that's all I wanted to hear. They swam quietly after that, not needing many words. Their closeness was enough, the gentle movement of the water binding them together under the endless dome of stars. When the evening ended, they climbed out of the pool slowly, as if neither wished to break the moment. Myra wrapped her towel around her shoulders, her heart lighter than it had been in days. As she turned to leave, Rallan's voice stopped her. Myra. She looked back. I will speak to the council. I will delay my return. I cannot leave yet. Her smile grew, warm and bright. Then I'll see you here tomorrow. Yes, he said with quiet certainty. Tomorrow. Myra walked down the steps, her steps light, her spirit glowing. The rooftop pool, once a place of solitude, was now filled with something greater hope. The next evening, the rooftop pool glowed softly under the glass dome, reflecting the stars above like countless tiny lights. Myra climbed the stairs with her towel over her shoulder, heart beating faster than usual. She had waited for this night, for the chance to see Rallan again, knowing he had chosen to stay a little longer. When she reached the top, he was already there, standing at the edge of the pool. His dark hair glistened with water droplets, his silver-tinged skin reflecting the soft light. But tonight, there was no tension in his posture, only a calm warmth that seemed to fill the air. You came, he said, his voice steady but gentle. Of course, Myra replied, smiling. I would not miss it. They both slipped into the pool. The water was cool against their skin, but it no longer carried the weight of uncertainty. Instead, it felt alive, filled with quiet joy. Myra floated near the edge, watching the stars above, and Rallan joined her, moving carefully so as not to disturb the water too much. For a while, they swam in silence, letting the water and the starlight fill the space between them. Then Myra spoke, softly. You've stayed. Did the council agree? Rallan nodded. Yes. I explained. I need to understand more than orders. I need to learn from your world. From your people. And from you. Myra felt her chest fill with warmth. She had never expected such honesty, such care. You really mean that? I do, he said firmly. I have met many species, traveled far and wide, and yet I have never understood joy as I understand it here. You humans, you find meaning in simple things. You turn ordinary moments into something extraordinary. Myra smiled, floating closer. Maybe that's just being human. We notice small joys, and they become bigger because we share them. Rallan's gaze softened. Then I am grateful you shared them with me. They swam side by side, feeling the rhythm of the water and the quiet pulse of the station around them. Myra realized how much she had come to cherish these nights, the pool, the stars, and his presence beside her. What had begun as curiosity had grown into something far deeper, a connection neither of them could deny. You know, Myra said, a hint of laughter in her voice, this pool feels different now. It feels alive. Rallan tilted his head, curious. Alive. Yes, she said. Not just because of the water. Because of us. Because of everything we've shared here. I've never felt this way before, and I think, she paused, searching for words. I think this is what makes humans special. We make moments matter. Rallan smiled, a real, gentle smile that reached his eyes. Then perhaps that is why I have stayed. To learn what it truly means to live, to feel, and to care. Myra's heart beat faster. She moved a little closer, letting their hands brush. I'm glad you stayed, she whispered. As am I, Rallan replied. I do not know how long this time will last, but for now. I want to be here. With you. The stars reflected in the water, and for the first time, the pool seemed like a bridge between two worlds, between humans and aliens, between duty and choice, between loneliness and connection. They swam together in silence, speaking only with glances, smiles, and gentle touches. Each movement in the water was a quiet promise, a celebration of something rare and beautiful. The station hummed softly beneath them, a world of machines and orders, yet above it all, the rooftop was theirs. Eventually, they climbed out of the pool, dripping and laughing quietly. Myra wrapped her towel around herself and then draped one over Rallan's shoulders. He chuckled softly, a sound that seemed foreign but full of warmth. Tomorrow, Myra said, we swim again. Rallan nodded, looking up at the stars. Yes. Tomorrow, and every night after. As long as you will have me here. Her smile was bright, her heart full. Then you will always have me here. That night, as Myra walked down the stairway, she felt the rooftop pool was no longer just water under the stars. It was a place of connection, of hope, of beginnings. A place where humanity's greatest strength, its ability to feel, to care, and to share joy, shone brighter than any star above. And somewhere beside her, Rallan followed, sharing the quiet warmth of the pool and the beauty of a bond that stretched across worlds.